This is one of my favourite German beers of all time, and now I've got one that's a little bit special. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and I've tried to record this intro 3 times now because I keep getting the name of the brewery wrong. Tegernsee Brauhaus is my best attempt. I probably am going to avoid trying to reuse the word Tegernsee, but anyway, that's the brewery. It's from a place in Germany also called Tegernsee. It's slightly south of Munich, still in Bavaria, so it's a proper Bavarian beer. There's also a lake with the same name, and this is their Spezial or special beer. Now, what does special beer mean? Well, honestly, I actually don't really have a clue. There's no actual kind of style descriptor on it. I will read you, though, a small excerpt from their website, which I've got on screen just over here, and it is a special beer brewed according to the Bavarian purity law. Thumbs up already. Crystal clear mountain spring water and raw materials of the highest quality. Is a bit of a kind of dedication, I think. This is a rough translation, mind. To the brewing tradition that goes back over 1,000 years to the Benedictine monastery of Tegernsee, founded in 746. Which is, well, that's a long time ago. It doesn't actually give any real taste notes or descriptors, which is good because I do like to go into these things quite blind, but it does say it should be lightly spicy and well-rounded, which, well, just sounds absolutely beautiful. Based on that, and the fact that it's 5.6%, I'm kind of expecting this to be a little bit like a fest beer that they've not called a fest beer, maybe something that they brew all year round, but in that kind of style. And, well, given how much I absolutely adore their regular Tegernsee Hell, yeah, I mean, it should be pretty good. So let's get into it. Now then, on their website it does show a picture of a pint with a big foamy frothy white head on it, so I reckon I've done it just a bit all right there. In the glass it looks like a beautiful light gold straw coloured German lager. I was going to say absolute clarity. There is the tiniest bit of haze in there, but it is absolutely minute. If I put it up to the light, actually, I'm starting to get a slightly kind of weird green hue from it. But I set it down, I think it just does. But yeah, there's a slightly very yellow is what I'll say. It's not really green, but it's not orange and amber and kind of, you know, sun-kissed. It's more, you know, proper yellow hued. Almost looks like a Pilsner in some regards, but the carbonation is not massive by the look of it. Nice foamy white head on it. Really does look the business. And it has been a little while since I reviewed some really good German beer, although I did review a lot of really good German beer in Oktoberfest. But we've had a small break, and I'm very glad to be back at it. So, the aromas. It's got that nice, distinct, slightly sharp, slightly grassy, not quite piney, but getting there note to it. I don't know if this is because they put it in my head from what I read on the website, but there is like a slightly warming prickly note, the spicy thing. It's a bit more quite kind of well-rounded, I think, like nutmeg, not quite cinnamon, not that aggressive, but yeah, there's definitely some spicy note in there somewhere. Otherwise, the malt is present but not bold, it's just there existing. Smells very nice. I don't know that immediately I prefer the aroma on this to their original Hells, but well, it smells very good anyway, so let's get into it. Cheers. That is very, very special, but not quite in the way I was expecting. I really do need to go in for another sip to give this a real assessment. I really thought this was going to be like the Hells, but more malt, more bread, more amped up, more looks, very much fest beer. And I think I know why they definitely didn't call it a fest beer. It's because it absolutely isn't. So what is it? Well, actually the hop profile in this is much more pronounced. I'd have to do them side by side to be able to tell really whether the malt has changed a lot or not, but my instinct is that actually there's just a bit less malt profile in this, a bit less body somehow. And to be honest, as that initial aroma test suggested, it does feel a bit more Pilsner-like. It's not quite as harsh and not quite as spiky as a full-blown German Pilsner, but at the same time, it does have this... Well, that's interesting. I was going to say it does have this distinctly hop-forward, slightly spiky edge, which is what you would normally associate with the Pilsner style. That last sip, though, slowly but surely, the malt is starting to get to work. And it's not all there yet, but maybe as this sits in the glass for a moment, it's going to start to build, and then we might end up with something that's actually a little bit the best of both worlds. So while we wait and see if that happens, let's do an actual top to bottom taste test to analyse each and every section. Hopefully by the end of that we'll work out what this really is and what it's trying to do. But I can tell you, well, yes, it is very special indeed. I'm a bit reserved yet to say that it's better than the regular, so in that way maybe not as special, but certainly some people would enjoy it a bit more. But for me, this one, that original hell is really, really special, I suppose. But maybe that's why that's the regular and this is special, because more people like the... Anyway, top to bottom taste test time. So, initially, right on the front of the tongue, mild carbonation, grassy, a few hints of lemon, citrus, but it's not like intense. It's just like a little tip of the hat to those kind of, well, I guess flavours that you would associate with hops in modern beer, but maybe not so much in this. But there's just a little tip of the hat to, I guess, more modern hop variants. Then over the first third of the tongue, quite drying. The malt is present if you really dig around in there, and it's quite dry, almost pretzely. You know, almost crisp, not big and rich, but distinctly there. You start to get a hint of that fantastic water quality. It really is absolutely off the charts. And then just before you take it further back onto the mid palate, you just start to get a hint of something slightly warm. It is just general spice. General spice is probably a stripper, right? I feel like you shouldn't search the internet for general spice. That can't end well. But anyway, it's got this kind of, you know, it's not dragging you into a really distinct flavour note, but there's just something slightly warming, slightly, I guess, just amplifying and lifting all the flavours up along with it. It is very, very nice. Over the mid palate then, bitterness starts to build a little bit. The water profile, the mineral quality really ramps up. Like, it's, you can just tell straight away, like there's no way around that. Breweries all over the world will adjust their water profile to try and match somewhere else, but when it's the real deal like that, that is just, yeah, the mineral quality is absolutely unreal. But there is another flavour that I'm struggling to really put my finger on. And I think once again, it is that spice element. There's something warming, something just kind of tantalising and tickling the taste buds, but without being ever really present. I'm actually not sure whether it's actually the booze, whether it's just a bit of an alcohol burn, alcohol spike at that point. I mean, it's 5.6%, it shouldn't be massively boozy, but at the same time, beers certainly can come across more boozy than they actually are in some cases. So maybe that's just it, but there's this, and I can still taste it now. I have probably tortured my tongue by leaving it on there a bit too long, longer than you normally would, and now it's all confused. But it's not quite smoked chili, but it's getting that kind of way, weirdly. It's nowhere near the actual flavour profile, but the experience, the way it delivers the flavour, or the heat intensity, or whatever it is that I'm trying to put my finger on, yeah, kind of think like, you know, smoked chilies, that kind of slightly spicy but rich, but yeah, slightly distorted all at the same time. Anyway, onto the back of the tongue. Another lick of bitterness again. That grassy hop profile builds. Lemon's dropped off, it's distinctly grassy, maybe even a tiny hint of pine in there. And that's really it. Which makes you go, you know what, it was very nice, but having, again, known what this does, you're thinking, well, okay, where's the special? But the aftertaste really is where everything starts to build up and you go, okay, maybe I kind of get it, because that spice extinguished, mineral water quality comes leaping back in again, really showing off that mineral profile. You get a little bit of a repeat of the grassy hop notes, and then it all fades away and leaves this really subtle, delicate, once again, pretzely, cracker, biscuity malt finish that actually is delicious. My preference, as it always is with heavier malt bready beers. That's just what I really enjoy. So this isn't as special as it could have been for me personally, but If you like Pilsners, but you want a little bit more malt and just kind of wish someone would fuse the two together really, really well, this is a very special way you could go about doing it. So then, some final thoughts, because I actually can't read the bottle because it's all in German. It is an imported beer. All I can really say is it's really, really nice. I would order it in a bar almost every time if I saw it, because there's a good chance nothing in there will beat this. But I'll always be thinking, you know what I'm always thinking, is that I would rather be drinking that. And it's not just my preference, it's slightly thinner, it's slightly washy in places. And what is the ABV on that original? It's 4.8, it's not a strong beer. This is a decent step up, but it just doesn't feel it. It feels slightly thin in places, slightly washy, and ultimately with the choice between the two, I'm only ever going to go and buy the original. But if you're not quite sure where you are with your German beer preferences, get both, because ultimately no one is having a bad day drinking either of these. And had I never had that hell, then I would be absolutely raving about this one. It is very, very good, but it is just falling slightly short for me for some reason, just kind of on my personal preferences, which is a shame. But I've had a very enjoyable time trying it out, and that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.